Call the meeting to order at 8:15. Please stand to do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Richard, have you had the chance to go over the agenda, March 11th, 2025, regular meeting minutes?
Yes, sir, I have, and I would make a motion to approve the agenda. If you have no objections to anything onto the agenda.
I do not. I'll second Richard's motion to approve the consent agenda.
And also the regular meeting minutes. We're gonna do liquor license separately. Okay,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, liquor licenses, none.
Make a motion, or I guess we really don't need one.
Public comments. Anybody from the public want to share anything? All right, Board of Supervisor Committee meeting updates. First and foremost, I want to do a brief moment of silence if everybody will join me. It is Anna, correct? Anna Mayberry. So Anna Mayberry, which is Kevin's mother and Lonnie's grandmother, passed away last week, and her funeral services are today. So if everybody will join me in a brief moment of silence, I'd appreciate that. All right, thank you. Supervisor Mayberry is gone. Last week I had, Iowa State Association of County Spring Conference for a few days. Was able to learn a lot and meet quite a variety of people from around the state with problems, similar problems that Mills County is facing. That's all I have. Richard?
I was invited to a meeting maybe a week ago today in the afternoon. Jacob was there, Mark was there, to discuss more on the annexation area. There was some problems brought up with some roads and islands. Tried conveying a little bit on emergency area and services that would have to be coincided with the companies out of Council Bluffs. So those issues haven't been taken care of yet, but we'll get to those later. I also attended Isaac meeting in Des Moines, where we discussed many things on public health, mental health, roads, assessors, treasurers. We try and cover everybody, but the main thing we do at this meeting is we select 6 students from across the area. The state is broken up into 6 different areas. You have to be a county employee. Your son or daughter applies for a scholarship, and we give out 6 of them. And let me tell you, folks, don't give up on the young generation yet. They're still out there. They are amazing what these young kids come up with and do. But no, we had some very good meetings. Learned a lot about mental health. I'm quite puzzled how we're going to go clear to the Minnesota border and clear down to the Missouri border and to Interstate 35 and cover people. Folks, I don't think with 4 or 5 people in that area, how you can take care of what needs to be done with your main cog is in Pot County. So, but we're supposed to work through that and it'll be all right. Guaranteed to this. I'll quit.
Thank you, Richard. Jacob? Yes, you're up. Start Helsing Avenue.
All right, Don Stewart gave me a call. He's not gonna make it in today, but he's prepared for the storm tomorrow. But still, just since we have it on here, it'll be good to discuss it. He wants to meet with me again. He said maybe later this week. We'll see if that actually happens. The last time I met with Don, if you guys remember, this is the railroad crossing down south of PJ, Kelting Ave. That's been closed since the flood in 2019. So since company wants to go in there, railroad wants to like add some switches and new tracks, they want to officially close the crossing there. It's been closed since 19, but they want to make it official. And so that's brought up some concerns primarily from Don Stewart of, hey, how about we fight to open this crossing back out? I think that ship has sailed in discussions with the railroad. I don't think we're gonna make any headway there. I think in previous discussions, you guys have also seen the benefit, the economic development benefit from this company going in. So the next step was what the county, my department is offering is to install the hammerhead design there, because basically it's making a dead end road. And so they have difficulties turning around their semis during harvest season. And so we would just install this hammerhead gravel, give them a place to turn around. I think it's the next best option. The only issue with it is that to do it correctly, we should purchase the right of way from them because it will be on their property a little bit. The reason for that is years down the road, I can commit, yeah, we'll maintain it. But just years down the road, if property changes or whatever, if it is the county right of way, then we are on the hook to keep it maintained. And there's not gonna be any dispute about that, so. That would probably, I don't know how long that would take, but if everyone's in agreement, I think it should go fairly quickly. So it's just getting Don on board. Is it Matt? Bierman, he's on the south side and he's in favor of it, so. We pretty much have him on board. I'll try to have that discussion with Don later this week. He says he's gonna call me, but, I'll probably have to reach out to him next week and see where he wants to go. But right now, I think the movement is to install this and move on. I guess the company that wants to come in and get the resolution signed for the official closing of the railroad. Also noted, I believe the railroad kicked in. Do you remember how much they upped it? 15,000, I think. So basically, the railroad is gonna give us the money. We'll use that money to install this. So I think it will be a good thing for the county. So yeah, okay, where we're at with that.
Right, so
So
approval,
no action on
no
it
action.
right now.
Approval to update survey.
Next thing, we had in our current year, budget year, we have $20,000 budgeted. That was kind of just a number thrown at it, not sure of exactly what we would need. Transit Works is who we deal with. We had them come in, look at our current equipment. And basically our GPS head is outdated. And so to purchase a new software, new GPS head, bipod, all that, the Carlson brand, we have Topcon currently, so this is gonna be cheaper, but it's also, the salesman really likes this. This is the one that he sells to the most people because it comes at a good price point and it can do everything the other ones can. So total for everything, they have applied an $1,800 government discount to us, so total will be $13,364 for the Carlson DRX7 GPS rover kit.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the new survey equipment at $13,364 from Carbon BS Carlson.
It's from Transit Works. The brand is Carlson. Sorry.
I'll second that. We have a motion and second to approve $13,364 to Transit Work to buy Carlson BRX7 GPS rover kit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Okay. Okay, formal action, sign H12 rehabilitation plan.
Okay, so as I kind of updated you guys last time, we're making some changes to the H12 plans. We pulled it from letting to make these changes. Basically on the concrete section, we were gonna rubbleize it. Now we're just gonna do a asphalt interlayer and then additional asphalt on top, total 5 inches on top. And that'll basically, once you change one thing in the plans, it changes different quantities. So changing the thickness of the asphalt, then changes the thickness of the shouldering material. And so you have to update all the tables. So talked with the consultants, they're hopping on that really quick. And we're hoping to get this back into the stream of things and have it ready for June 1st. Or a June letting would be June 1st. Due by April 1st, June letting. So we do still have high hopes of completing it this summer yet, it'll just be pushed back. So since they're making those changes, and they'll be working on them, but in the essence of time, for them to get to the cover sheet. Here to the board for signing. And submit it to you.
I'll make a motion to approve the H12 rehabilitation plan that will postpone part of it for a while for an additional 5-inch asphalt overlay. Will this actually be cheaper than tearing the concrete up and redoing it that way?
We haven't actually put full numbers yet together, but since I think it'll probably be close to even, because we'll be a little bit higher on some of the oil and the asphalt, but we're using less asphalt, we're using less shouldering, we're not rubbleizing, so I think it should come out right about the same price.
I will second Richard's motion. We have a motion and a second to sign the H12 rehabilitation plans. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Okay, consideration formal action, accept and sign the 2025 FM Rock estimate.
Okay, so this is for FM Rock. We would like to complete this at the end of April. We're gonna be utilizing some of our own trucks. And so with that, we'll have a cost saving. The total bid for this project from Schoberg is to come out to. Well, there's two prices here, so I don't know how you wanna say it. So he gave us a bid price as if he was doing everything, which would be $348,123.60. However, we're gonna be utilizing 6 of our own trucks, so we expect to have approximately $41,000 saving increase or cost savings. So if you take that out, we're looking at right around $306,800. It's approximately 13,000 tons. Material rate is $17 a ton. The haul rate is $9.55 per ton. I would probably list it as the 348,000 contract price, and then everything that we have on pause. We would fully expect it to come to $85,000.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve, accept the sign of the 2025 FM Rock estimate. If I got my figures right. County's going to do a portion of this, the savings of $41,000, correct?
Correct.
So it should come out to be about $306,800, right? That's And the 13,000 ton is the total ton for the project.
We do about 32 miles a year. So it's a lot of money up front, but we get 32 miles knocked out.
Just to clarify, you want us to include that it's 348,000 in a motion, right?
I thought I put the total in, then you take the savings off. What we're gonna pay Shellberg would be approximately $306,800 to finish the project.
Motion. I'll second that. There's a motion and a second to approve and sign the 2025 FM rock estimate. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consideration formal action on Silver Spring subdivision final plat recommendation.
All right, this is, my letter to you all. I attached the section of the subdivision ordinance on the back. And basically, we're under 25.5.9, report to the county board. So this letter described where I made my initial inspection out at Silver Springs, found a couple of deficiencies, mostly in just the width of the roadway and cul-de-sac. And I sent that over to Mr. Clark. He then contacted me when they completed those. I went back out, did additional measurements and checked it, and he did in fact complete them as described. So at this point, all the improvements made there do meet the standards of our ordinance. And so I would recommend to the board to accept the construction of improvements at Silver Springs subdivision. I do have in here a caveat that since these are becoming private roads, that before the final plat is accepted, that all covenants or whatever agreements he needs to have are in place prior. And that way it kind of protects whoever buying the homes, that they're not going to be stuck with inadequate road, which we also have to think about. Even though it's private road, there could potentially still be emergency vehicles that need access. And that's kind of the main reason we make sure that we're happy up to the current standards as far as width. So as far as it's constructed now, I do recommend that you approve it. With your acceptance of that and approval, that would start the date from today's date, 1 year. As far as anything that has to be, basically it's a warranty. It's spelled out in the ordinance, a maintenance bond for 1 year after completion.
Yeah, make a motion that we accept on the recommendations of the county engineer, Silver Springs subdivision's final plat with letter of approval and work done. And we have a maintenance bond. Is that good for just 1 year?
Yes.
I will second Richard's motion. We have a motion and a second to approve the Silver Spring subdivision final plat recommendation from the county engineer's office. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay. 0. Okay. Consideration formal action to set the public hearing for approval of final plat for Silver Spring subdivision.
We are not going to do that this time. I need him to fill out some additional paperwork.
Okay.
So
Table that.
And I will reach out to him on that.
General discussion.
Not much for a general discussion. We're taking a look at L31. Drove that. I don't know if you guys have been on that road. It's the recently overlaid one. It was beautiful, smooth road, and now we're having a bunch of bubbles come up and ripples in it. So the asphalt contractor came down late last week to take a look at it, trying to figure out it's something in the mix. I don't know exactly what's going on there. I think Greg, one of the deputies sent us a photo at night. You can really see it at night, L31.
I'm not sure.
Send it to Kevin,
I apologize, I was looking at my budget.
No, it's fine. And in the light with the shadows, you can really kind of see them too.
That was the picture you showed me when we were at ISAC, correct? That Kevin sent you. That looked too good.
No, so we're looking at that to figure out what we need to do. I think where we might be saved is we haven't, in all those construction projects, part of the process is final acceptance, and I have not signed the final acceptance form, so technically, we still have, I mean, we have leverage there to hold the contractor to it, so hopefully we'll get something figured out and figure out what's going on. So, working through that right now. Yeah, that's about all I have.
Do you have anything for Mr. Farrell, Richard?
No. I see they've been very busy in clearing brush and fixing road banks and things, so.
Making a lot done.
It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of the biggest weedy roast piles of brush in Middle County. Stand back quarter mile when they light this thing off. You know, I roast hot dogs from my back door. It is huge, but no. Great improvement.
Yeah.
What they did out there, taking all that brush off of that west
So
bank.
nice. And that's where our IRBM program really comes in handy, because in years past, we've done that, looks great. And within 3 to 5 years, it's grown up even worse than it was before. But now that we come in and we spray those areas, we see that lasting change. It's not work just done.
Like the farmer said, he says, I can at least mow it and help them keep it trimmed down, keep the trees out of it. They can keep them down. Man, it's a great endeavor for them. And then I see they're taking down some high banks on Keys Avenue, which will help us out greatly on snowdrifts.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they get all that cleared. There's about a half mile there that generally is 5-6 feet deep and a 3-inch snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Then we're geared up for tomorrow.
Yeah. See what happens. It's supposed to be early though.
Hot summer day yesterday.
I know. Thinking I might play a little bit of golf this afternoon. See. All right, well, I don't have anything else for you, Jake, so
Okay.
thank you for coming in.
Yep,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, Stephen Hunt is out here. He's still planning on coming.
Or is it not?
Table that for later. Okay, Greg, you're up.
It was just show at night when your deputies, I guess, must have been out, but you could see problems in the road. No, it was okay.
Okay, yeah, no.
It's all our problem. You guys were just helping us.
We'll
Shine light on
point
it.
out all your faults if you want.
Yeah. All right, take care. Thank you.
Jake. Greg, acceptance of resignation of detention office.
Brett Clark. He came to us from the state school when they shut down, decided he's gonna go back to work for the state. So, his own last official day will be 25th. That will create a vacancy. We'll talk about that in a second.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of the detective officer. His last date being March 25th.
Second, Richard's motion. We have a motion and a second to accept the resignation of a detention officer, and his last date will be the 25th. 21st.
21st. Sorry, there, Greg.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, approval to hire for vacancy.
Yeah, that's created a hole. So we're gonna start the process. We're gonna get some service open it up and then start our process. You think who's a male, we'd like to hire a male. A female, that should be preferred, but we get, just gonna hire the best qualified applicant. We have a pile, has been the case recently, so hope for the best, try and get as many applicants as we can, we'll pick the best for that.
But you can hire male or female, all right, without,
We can. Because we're losing the male, we could hire a male, but, because the state requires that we have a female in the building at all times, just be out of female inmates, that man that needs, if it's an even one-on-one, equal at the top.
Yep.
Probably something.
I'll make a motion to approve hire for the vacancy.
I'll interject. We have 2 vacancies because we still haven't been able to fill them.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
we're
two
at 12 of the
vacancies still.
13.
We slotted for 13. We've only had 12 from last
Okay.
year because we're not getting applicants.
Didn't we have an automatic thing with you?
You did with me.
Yeah,
With-
but we've never done that since
Okay.
I've come around. And
Would it be better for you so you wouldn't have to come back all the time? I mean, I know it seems like they come and go, come and go, come and go, and we don't mind you coming and visiting us, but,
by all means, if we didn't have to come back and ask us if we had a vacancy, that would be ideal. You know, I guess if you wanted to word the motion that we allow you to fill this vacancy, you don't have to come back to see us every time you have a vacancy to fill it. That'd be great.
I prefer you come back. Like any other department does. I prefer you to come back.
I'm good. with that.
okay,
So you still have a vacancy for a detention officer. Was it a male or female position?
You did one, depending on how things go.
We can only take 1 more male.
Yeah. Only take one more male.
So
And
we have
that's
2 openings. We could take 1 male, 1 female, or 2 females.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I know.
We have a motion to approve the hire for the vacancy.
yes,
Okay. I'll second Richard's motion. There's a motion and a second to approve the hiring for a vacancy position as a detention officer. All in favor, say aye.
right,
Aye. Opposed? All right. Melissa Lawfree, approval to hire for vacancy. We're gonna table that until next week. Okay, consideration formal action, fiscal sponsor for Lyons Township projects. Sir.
Yes. Yep. Are you good, Steve?
Good.
Good. Do you have any questions for me on any of mine? Sound good for last week?
So the main project at the time is the Wabansie Church.
Yeah, the building.
Okay, okay.
Yep, just updating, it needs small work.
Okay.
Used for a lot of things in the county.
Yep.
We'd like to use it some more.
Yeah,
There's safety issues. But
yeah.
Foundation and just the overall look of the church.
Okay,
I would make a motion that, Mills County will be the fiscal sponsor for the Lyons Township project. Restoring, can we put down restoring the church? Is that
Yeah.
all right with you?
Yeah.
So people, when people ask or read, they'll
Yeah,
know.
I'd say restoring the former
Forward
Wabansie Church.
Yeah,
Okay,
if not, we only have Christmas and Easter, so
Yeah.
we don't have a full,
All right.
okay.
yeah.
There is a motion. I'll second Richard's motion. We have a motion and a second for Mills County to be the fiscal sponsor for Lyons Township project to restore the former Wabansie Church. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Is the church the only project really going on in Lyons Township
Yeah.
right now?
Yep.
Okay, anything else on the horizon?
No, but mainly our main thing is church.
Okay. And
We have a couple cemeteries we maintain, but other than that,
you have Easter service coming up, maybe?
yes, we do.
I was wondering what time it's at.
Yep, I don't know if it's set yet. I'll have to talk to Dave Mumble. He's the one that is in charge, the other board member, lining that stuff up.
Well, if you're able to, I'd
Yeah, okay.
appreciate it if you could
Yep.
email all of us
Yep.
the time
You
of
bet.
day. I'd like
You
to
bet.
make it down there.
Yep.
So,
For sure.
absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Yep, thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Robbie.
Have a great day.
Mark, why don't you come up here?
All right.
Resolution 25-07 regarding the proposed annexation.
Go, hold on. Hold on.
We voted on it.
Okay. Check my hearing aids. Well, there's a lot of pros and cons on this situation. We got a letter from City of Council Bluffs. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't, or hasn't really brought to light the problems that I see, and maybe the engineer, with some of the roads being isolated or islands like, and then, we're still stuck with the whole Bungie Avenue repair part. It says, well, it could be taken care of in phase 2 or phase 3. And they've also talked about, the amount of money that the company will get to use to take care of some of the roads. True fact, not a true fact.
Mark, is there any formal agreement that says that whatever company goes in, a portion of their TIF proceeds, not our chunk of TIF proceeds, but their TIF proceeds are gonna go to be the starting up costs for the RISE grant? Is there any formal agreement written down on paper?
That will be part of the development agreement that the company will sign for project that outlines all of the kind of TIF and urban renewal activities. Company has been told many times that that is the scenario that will be happening.
Buggy Avenue included.
With whatever road improvements are required, for the RISE match.
Okay.
So, they are aware of that. That will be the scenario that we will be proceeding to develop. So I think there's a good opportunity here to help move the project forward, which will provide considerable income revenue for the county. I think showing support for the annexation also shows willingness to partner and to continue those negotiations. I think that kind of helps foster that relationship, partnerships to work to solve things together. So I think that's positive as well. Yes, there are concerns that we have, and we want to make sure that are addressed. Richard, I think we brought those concerns to them at our meeting a week ago, so they understand that. I think the mayor indicated that willingness to work with partner and to solve these issues. It just takes a little bit of time to try to work those out and figure it out.
The mayor wasn't in on that meeting Tuesday, was he?
Wasn't in on the meeting, but after the meeting, I know that the public works director went and visited here.
And I think I filled you in on this, Mark. I think I might talk to you as well, Richard. But Mayor Walsh called me about 2 weeks ago, week and a half now.
Yeah.
And he's pretty adamant that Bungie Avenue will not be repaired or really maintained by the city of Council Bluffs. And they're not willing to fund any of the repairs or the maintenance of Bungie Avenue unless they're quote unquote in the area. If there's a snowstorm and they're down there, they'll do a swipe across the road, but they're not going to help upfront the cost 5, 10, 15 years down the line. At least that's the opinion of the current mayor. Obviously, that's a little concerning for me looking at, we want to be good partners. And then this whole thing comes back to, and I've hit it hard a lot of times, I apologize. It comes back to the fact that they have known for years that Bungie Avenue was a sticking point for Mills County, that we wanted them to at least go to the center line of Bungie Avenue so that we could work together and that we could have some formal agreement. We were all in favor of it. The paper, Glenwood Opinion Tribune, has us all in favor of it because we shared our opinion on it before we actually got the map. And then when we got the map of the actual annexation, that's when we were concerned. So I know Jake is kind of sitting back and thinking, why wasn't Mills County brought in from the beginning? That's a little concerning to me. Since being at ISAC last week, I had the opportunity to talk to a few Potawatomi County supervisors, and the widespread opinion of the Potawatomi County supervisors is Council Bluffs doesn't really deliver on their promises to the county. And they're not quote unquote good partners. And I can understand that. This is the first time we're working together up in this area, really working together at all. And this is how we are being treated. It's a little concerning moving forward. If a supervisor replaces Richard or a supervisor replaces me, I don't want to put a supervisor in a bad position. I'm sure you can understand that.
No, I certainly understand.
No, and I also see the benefit. I see the tax revenue, see the jobs, but I also see the improvements that are going to need on the road. And I know that's going to be covered through the RISE grant, but RISE grants are only for new development. It's not for 20 years down the line when that road gets beaten up and we have to replace it every few years. I see that problem. I see public safety problems that our sheriff has expressed concern over. And then for me, we could call what it is, but I also see a problem with the whole principle of the idea. Kind of just how we've been treated doesn't sit right with me. I think that's understood by all parties. And I think we've expressed that to Council Bluffs. Wouldn't you agree, Richard?
Yes, and it bothers me that we can sit here and, yes, I believe in economic growth. We need something to get started with in Mills County besides what we have. Council Bluffs stepped forward and said, well, we can provide water and sewer, fine. That gets us started, but in order to make this thing work, we have to put in over a mile and almost a mile and excuse me, mile and a quarter of brand new pavement. And okay, we get RISE grant for that. Well, in the meantime, back here, we have been already allocated to widen the road in front of WSI and Echo in that area with RISE grant money. How much RISE grant money are you allocated per project? They want this 192nd Street. They want that paved from the south going north. That's all in Mills County.
Yeah, but again, that won't be the responsibility of this county.
It'll be our responsibility to maintain the road, and then in the future, it'll be our responsibility to pay for any improvements. If we don't have a RISE grant, which RISE grant is just for new buildings.
I mean, again, I don't want to speak against Ross. I thought at the meeting they indicated the city would take forward. But that's something that again, I think I think probably, if you say, no, we're not in support of annexation, these are the yes, support the annexation.
Yeah.
Have these concerns. In that case, in the case have negotiations. And show that it's working. I don't know if saying no will improve. I don't think that improves our position.
I don't know if it necessarily improves our position, but it shows that people in Mills County aren't going to be pushed over from a city just north of us.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. I don't know if it's really going to help us through the negotiation process, but I can promise you the mayor's going to understand that he can't come to Mills County and just do whatever he wants down here.
Well, then, I've talked to a lot of especially the rescue people, these roads that we're talking about making improvements and stuff on, you take 192nd Street, 189th Street. From my understanding, if these are not accepted or not taken in by the annexation, that leaves liability to our volunteer system out of Mineola, for getting to the accident scenes and stuff. They have very well expressed, well, if Council Bluffs wants to take this over, their fire departments are there, their rescue units are there. They can be there in 5 minutes. It's gonna take us 20 to 25 minutes to get over the hill to them. So I don't know, there's some things can be worked out that way, but it puts a rather hard burden on us still owning the roads in a sense. So
We have the benefit from the tax revenue. We have the benefit from the jobs and the kind of quote unquote indirect tax revenue that we'll get from it. People buying homes, people buying groceries, people having their kids in our schools. I can see all that. But off the top of your head, you've worked with Council Bluffs for quite some time now. Is there any reason that you can think of that Mills County wasn't brought into the conversation before they released this plan? Because, my outlook on this is this could have all been resolved if they would have just talked to us.
Right, yeah. I can't speak for Council Bluffs and why, that consultation didn't occur earlier. I don't think it was necessarily something that was intentional to say we're gonna exclude. I think it probably just as they were following the process, but again, can't speak for them as to why. But I understand, the desire, and expressing that desire moving forward, was there to occur again. But, it's always nice to have, a unified front when it comes to a project. And I know you're supportive of the project itself, the economic development and the jobs and the revenue that will bring to the county.
Yeah.
I think that, just looking at it, seems to me having that support kind of strengthens your position to have conversation. I understand you're saying that kind of puts a statement out there to get pushed around.
Well, and if we allow it to go through in the future, we're not gonna have any bargaining chips. That's the only thing. The only thing we could do is take some concrete barriers and shut down Lundy Avenue, but I don't think anybody here wants to do that.
It is kind of a trust kind of a thing that's got to go on here, moving forward. I think that, the mayor expressed desire to work together, solve the problems that are out there. I guess
and
take that on his word or not, I guess.
there's some, we was going to move some intersections around up there and stuff to help improve the flow of traffic and things. There's times that, there's traffic gets back clear up on 29. Especially in the following year when the truckers start coming in, anywhere from 700 to 800 truckloads of beans going to Bungie a day. And how this is gonna evolve now, moving this road and going around the bookstore and stuff and things, that was supposed to be a project being studied by the state. Now they're kind of sitting on their hands on it, waiting to see what this is gonna happen. So here we could be another 2-3 years behind the 8 ball yet again. And I get a lot of phone calls in the fall, the truckers said, hell, we're sitting here in a line that nobody can move. I'm not taking any offense to the sheriff. I don't feel that, when you get traffic jams, you have to do what you can do. And, but here we are not being able to do anything. They say, well, we need to do another study. We have studied it. Council Bluffs has studied it. And now the state's doing another study on it. I'm going, how many times can you study the same thing that never moves? I mean, you know how much traffic there is in the fall and the spring of the year when grain comes in and out. And if the cattle operation would happen to go in, there's another, I'm gonna say at least 60, 70 trucks, because what goes in has to come out on truck. So,
And if Cattleman comes in, I mean, they have to update their study that they did several years ago.
oh, definitely,
So, yeah, and, until that traffic study, which really looks at the existing traffic, on Bundy Avenue, what the project will add, timing, and all those type of things, can't really tell what is gonna be required for improvements on Bundy Avenue. Again, I'm assuming that there will be some, which will be related to the RISE grant, which again, would be covered by the RISE grant and the company through TIP proceeds. So, which would solve, hopefully some of those problems down there. Obviously, it's a difficult intersection. There's a lot of traffic down there, a lot of things going on. Is it gonna solve everything? Probably not, but hopefully it makes it better. But it is a long-term thing that, yes, is gonna have to be looked at and addressed. It's gonna have to be looked at in partnership, I think, between all parties involved. State, Hills County, Council Bluffs, maybe Bot County. They've still got some things going on there. But,
And Pot County is pretty concerned about this annexation plan too, as I'm sure you
and
understand.
they have these same concerns, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the road and safety.
and they have turned it down, right?
They turned down the letter of support that Council Bluffs asked them to vote on. They voted that down. They're voting on another one this afternoon, and I'm not sure whether it's in support or against, or not sure.
So they just, last week, they just
Yeah,
said, we're gonna send it out for a rewrite.
yeah, they wanted to make some additions if it was in support so that they could put in some clauses to,
Basically say their concerns.
yeah.
Well, I do know that I went to several meetings before with the company, with Council Bluffs and other people. I think Mark, you was a couple of them, the company that came in. The CEO from that company spoke to me directly and, we had good conversations and he says, Richard, we'd like to see this move smoothly. We'd like to see everyone on board with this. And I just made the comment, I says, that can happen if what they present to us is feasible. I have no problem with it. I don't think my board would have a problem with it. I'm not speaking for the other two right now, but if it's feasible, but now that we have the draft or whatever you want to call it, the annexation description, I just can't agree with. I'm having a problem with that part of it. But yet I'm sitting here going, okay, we say we don't support this. Are we against economic development? No. This board is very in favor of economic development, but how do my constituents look at saying, well, Richard Crouch voted for this? He says, it's a complete mess. How are we going to get this road fixed? Who's going to fix it?
If someone loses their life up there because the roads aren't up to par and Council Bluffs isn't chipping in, they're not going to blame them. They're going to blame the Mills County Board of Supervisors. That's one of my concerns, is we already have public safety concerns there. And this all could have been addressed if Council Bluffs would have spoke to us in the beginning. Now, when I went to the consultation meeting up there in Council Bluffs, that would have been a month ago, February 18th, actually, I think. Even then, they were adamant. This is completely two different things. There's the annexation plan, and then there's the traffic. No, it's not. Because the annexation plans includes where the actual city limit lines are going to go down to. And it's actually interesting because, of course, property lines go to the center of the road. So they're actually not even including the full property, if you think about it in that way, right? Let's consider that. They're not even including the full property of Cattleman's or the other side across the interstate. So I see the economic benefit, and I hope you understand that. The actual annexation, I am in favor of. The idea of annexation. Whether or not I'm in favor of the current plan that Council Bluffs gave to us, just not sure. Just not sure. I've heard, it's a little different down here because we have, I'm sure Richard has gotten phone calls and emails about it. People have stopped him. And when he's at Casey's, when he's at Classic, same thing has happened to me. People are concerned about this annexation plan just for the premise of Council Bluffs coming into the county. They're even just concerned about that. And then add on top Bungie Avenue, then the public safety concerns, including not only traffic flow, but police, fire departments. We could get ourselves in a pickle here.
Mr. Sheriff, you're sitting back there. Do you have anything you would like to add or
No,
any major concerns
I
as
think,
far as your ability to serve that area after annexation?
I think everything that you guys have touched on, I agree with. I think that anytime you start talking about increasing traffic, without a plan as to how to handle that, it's gonna be a challenge for us. We talk about covering, I think the official number is 750 miles of roadway. And that what you're talking about is the very northwestern tip of the county. If I have one or two deputies on and they're both tied up, or one's available, has to go up to that northwestern corner and the other guy is on I-29, that leaves the east side exposed. Is that perfect? No. Will we make it work? Most likely. Are you asking me if I like the idea? I don't. But it could happen today anyway. I think that the additional, Jack said it best. I'm in favor of the annexation. I don't disagree with the annexation because I think it's an opportunity to bring in more benefit to the county as far as the financial industry, the industry goes. But do I think it'll be a burden on the sheriff's office? Absolutely.
And Jake has kind of felt that way after our meeting and stuff we had a week ago. I talked to him some, I'm not going to speak for him, but he says, yeah, this could really cause some problems for us in the near future, even, with them taking control of some roads and some not. That's what bothers him, so.
Yeah. We're all in favor of economic development on this board. We all are. And given the opportunity, I'm gonna say my opinion, Richard, and then
Sure. Hey.
Given the opportunity, I would like to revisit this proposed annexation. I'm not gonna support it today. I want to revisit it with Council Bluffs, whether or not they send it to the State Development Board and the State Development Board approves it or not. It might be advantageous for them to continue the process if Mills County says that we don't support it. Then whatever company will know and we'll be able to get our resolution. I would say that it'd probably be more beneficial for Council Bluffs if we do vote a resolution of non-support to
You can certainly take
Start
no
back.
action today.
we have till today. Today's the due date.
Yes.
That's the only problem.
That's correct, right? So you can do a letter of, you can do a resolution of support, you can do a resolution of support, you can do a resolution of neutral,
Not sure, and then we just do nothing.
or you can just take no action. So you've got 4 options. Certainly, no action is an action. You can be neutral. I think that, again, just as looking at it from a perspective of saying, all right, what puts me in the best position to continue my conversation? Council Bluffs. To me, it makes sense to say, we'll support it. Here are our concerns. Which then says, okay, we're gonna work with you and get these issues solved. We say no, then that kind of just takes you out of the negotiation a little bit. Then council lets it go out. You say no.
Yeah, well, they've known for years what our concern is. That's the only thing. They've known it's not because we're anti-Council Bluffs or anti-economic development. It's because I'm anti Big Brother to Mills County kind of pushing us around.
Well, I think, they're gonna know where the position is.
Yeah, they're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna hear that loud and clear. As to this is the feeling that the board has, and these are our concerns. So I think, certainly I think that has been. So,
But nothing has been addressed. Through our consultation meetings, through our formal comments, through your
Yeah.
meetings, through my meetings.
and I think they can get addressed. They just can't.
All right, you say we could act as neutral.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Wouldn't recommend that.
I would not recommend acting as neutral or not voting at all. I don't think that's a good look. Either we support it or we don't. Given all the pros, all the cons, cards are all on the table. How do we feel?
I mean, I've said it time and time again, I'm not against the progress of economic development. I believe we needed it here in Southwest Iowa because we don't get a chance very often to have a company say they are coming in with, 380 some jobs, and the pay scale of it I've seen is pretty phenomenal. But yet I just don't feel good about being stepped on. I'll put it politely.
I don't either, because it's not just us being stepped on, it's our voters, Richard.
Well, and we had a letter last week from from just one gentleman that had, two sides clear full of objections and stuff, some of them a little
Yeah.
shaky, but still they was well thought of and things, so.
I'd be fine approving a resolution against, Richard.
Are you making that a form of a motion?
No.
No.
I'm just saying, I would be.
Well, I think that is tough on Council Bluffs, but it still saves us as taxpayers, the taxpayers of Mills County, until we get things resolved.
And we have an open door policy with anyone, including Council Bluffs, and hopefully we'll be able to discuss this with them further. But we need to be brought in early on. Because I think you understand, Mark, if this annexation goes through, and it's just a little sliver of Mills County, right? They won't stop annexing land because there'll be more and more opportunities. So this is the first time it's happening. This is when you would think they'd roll out the red carpet, meet with us, try to help us through our concerns. Just haven't happened.
Well,
It's no offense to anyone personally. I have no, I'm not against anyone up there. I'm
Not
just
either.
against how they did this.
But I'm just gonna throw a scenario out here. You guys, this is my feeling. They don't want anything to do with the roads and stuff in parts of this annexation area. So we come in and we have to say in 10 years, overlay, redo 370. Okay, the road put into what you would call A1 shape. The new bridge is built going into Bellevue. Boy, this is an ideal time to jump across the road at our expense. Sorry to say, that's the way I look at it. I mean, maybe it won't happen, I don't know, but still, the Mills County taxpayers built basically a new road, hooks to a new bridge. That part we don't have much to do with, but I mean, I probably won't be around then, but I hope to be alive yet, to see what takes place. But it's still the idea that I just don't feel good about it.
And I think the road would be improved by the projects that are being, in, so.
It'd be improved to where they should be already. It wouldn't be improved in the future.
Yeah, so I think you do the project, so, I mean, ultimately, potentially some maintenance and those type of things happen, but anyway, I think, you know, those improvement dollars may not necessarily be those county taxpayer project dollars.
Yeah, I would agree with the initial. It's not on paper, but I can trust I can trust them on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I can trust them on that one. But 10, 15, 20 years. Is there a motion you'd like to make for Richard?
Well, I think we've beat the horse about as far as we can down the path and he's about come to a stop, so. As of today, I would have to rule in a resolution against the proposed annexation.
I'll second Richard's motion. Just for clarity, I will read the resolution. Resolution 25-07, a resolution against the proposed annexation of 473 acres of land legally described as being part of sections 29-74-43 and 32-74-43 Potawatomi County, Iowa, and parts of sections 5-73-43 and 6-73-43 Mills County, Iowa, as shown in Exhibits A and B and presented to the City of Council Bluffs, Iowa, utilizing the 80-20 voluntary annexation, including land without the consent of the landowners in a non-urbanized area. Whereas the City of Council Bluffs has presented Mills County with an application for voluntary annexation to the city from 5 property owners wishing to be annexed into the City of Council Bluffs. Whereas Iowa Code 36.8.7(1)A allows for the city to receive up to 20% additional territory without the consent of property owners to create uniform boundaries. Whereas the city wishes to annex the real estate legally described in Exhibit A and as shown in the map described in Exhibit B and is within 2 miles of the city corporate limits. Whereas pursuant to Iowa Code 36.8.71(1)B2, a resolution is required from the Board of Supervisors of the county for which proposed real estate is to be annexed. Whereas the Board of Supervisors believe that the city's proposed annexation plan will cause various public safety concerns, specifically in terms of traffic in the area. Whereas the Board of Supervisors believe that the city is creating an undue financial burden on the county by not offering to help provide maintenance and repairs with the roadways in the area, specifically on Bungie Avenue. Whereas the Board of Supervisors share their concerns at the consultation meeting in accordance with Iowa Code 36.8.7(b)(1), along with formal comments in accordance with Iowa Code 36.8.7(2), along with multiple meetings with representatives from the city, and do not feel that the concerns of the people of Mills County have been adequately addressed. Whereas the Board of Supervisors are against the proposed annexation plan as outlined in Exhibits A and B to be incorporated into the City of Council Bluffs. Be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors of Mills County, Iowa, that the attached application for annexation of the real estate described in Exhibit A to the City of Council Bluffs, Iowa, be found to confirm the Iowa Code 36.8.7(1)A as voluntary annexation of territory. Be it further resolved, the Board of Supervisors hereby oppose the attached application for annexation to the City of Council Bluffs, Iowa, which would incorporate the area legally described in Exhibit A into the City of Council Bluffs, Iowa. Amber, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Crouch,
No. All right.
For this?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out here what. Yes, I want this, but I'm voting no against the,
you're voting for the resolution.
Yeah, this is the
of
resolution.
support.
right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I
You understand where I'm,
can't.
Crouch,
yes.
Sayers.
Aye. Well, Mark, I appreciate you coming in, appreciate you talking us through this. Hopefully we can get something worked out in the future, okay?
Sounds good, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Let's have Mr. Stephen come up. All right, Stephen, you're here.
Are you here for tourism too?
You're here to talk about
Yes,
tourism.
I am.
Let's chat.
Yes. I read, all I know so far, but what was in the Richard, you gave me the link. Lonnie, I haven't talked to. Trying to figure out the exact direction that's gonna be taken with tax dollars, anyways, for promoting tourism. No. I've been on tourism for probably 15 years. And my data that I have collected through the museum, because you don't know, I run the museum, so I'm very active in the tourism part of what's gonna happen. A lot of funding has been spent in areas of print material. Print material is almost kind of obsolete. There are still old timers that like to read print, and as a research person, I like to read a lot of print. My concern is the second part of this is how you were going to divide this up. Accountability. If you give me, say, $2,000 according to what the paper said, and something happens at the museum and we take that $2,000 and spend it other than on what it's supposed to be, what is the accountability? How do we document the money's being spent? I think there should be a documentation set up where, when I was on the old tourism group, I was the liaison with Carol when she was in the position. And I would call her, I'd be in here a lot and talk to her about stuff, and I always sent emails and here's what we've done for the year. Has it been anything exciting? No, it has not. We do have some opportunities now to redevelop our concept. And that is, let's quit trying to market to New York City, let's quit trying to market to out-of-staters. Let's look, we are gonna market to out-of-staters, but let's look at our actual cash market. And under the present climate of income and finances today, which could get worse or could get better, families that live across the river may not be able to take a vacation. They used to, because maybe the parks are closed or whatever. We have an opportunity to step into a niche and bring a lot of money back into our area that we're missing the boat on. We've missed the boat on this for probably 12 years. Most of my visitors that actually are supporters of our museum don't even live in the state of Iowa. They're from all over the country. They've come and visited. We have an opportunity to bring people across the river, especially with the interpretive center at the Point Creek area and 2 new cabins. We're not marketing to the people that say, well, let's take a weekend and come over and spend it. Let's 3 families come over and spend a weekend in one of the cabins and enjoy what we have. We're not marketing it. I don't think we're marketing anything that we have to offer anywhere. Really. We have the state championship corn husking at in Emerson. It's locally marketed. I don't know what their budget is for marketing it nationally. I think this year is the national championships are here. I believe last year. I never knew anything about it until after the event happened, and here come a thing from Indian Creek to promote it for them. So we need to have some cohesiveness and some accountability as how funding is going to be spent and who's going to do what. Because why do we want to overlap and duplicate something? For many years, the museum put up extra funding for advertising and promotion so we could market the 2 museums and any other events that were happening, because the tourism just did not have the money, because what they got from the county was $3,000. And then they would put this ad in our Iowa magazine, which cost us $2,000. So you have $1,000 to market, and $1,000 does not go very far. We need to have contacts. So if I'm out of state, I want to make a phone call about something, who do I call about tourism? Where do I call? Who do I talk to? Where's the website at that we used to maintain a website? The only one that actually took care of our website was Ron Cohn. He and I were the only 2 on this group that really knew a lot about the computer aspect of it. It never got maintained. It was like down or it did not work. We're not filling our obligation to promote our county, and we're not doing it with taxpayer money. And so I just want to know exactly the direction you guys want to take on this, because I think there needs to be I need to know who I can call. If I want to go to Polk County, I can call, Polk County Tourism, and they got a number, they got a website. We don't. And those are my concerns. I think we need to figure out how to develop that. Maybe a site on the county, maybe the same site on the city paper, maybe the same site on museum pages, so it's all cohesively and all is the same. But then how do they contact people? Who do you call? Do I call you at home? Museum numbers connect to my cell phone, so I get calls every day up until 10, 11 o'clock at night for stuff. And one of these days, I'm gonna be kind of stepping back. Who's gonna take that way? Those are my concerns and my questions to ask. Now, we do have, the chamber has a committee. I've never been to, well, I've only been to one meeting, and that's when they had the organizational meeting at the museum. I think their committee's far too big to make decisions. If you get over a dozen people, you're gonna have many different solutions and stuff, and I don't think things will happen cohesive. The other committee, which is quasi still active, does nothing. I was on that for a long time, and when all of the old timers finally stepped off of it because of my branchedness, I took care of it for 8 years all by myself. I got new brochures printed. We did a video of the county, and I did it all by myself. And that's not how it should work. So I'm just here to feel out what your concerns are, what you think we should be doing to promote our county. We have to look at what do we have to promote? First and foremost, that's what I've always asked. What do we promote to other people that brings them here? We have about 4 or 5 things that are good to promote, maybe 6 that we should be promoting. And how are we going to do that? How does Malvern Saturday night events through the summer, who promotes that if there's no tourism?
Well, Zach Jones
Do they
does
call
them,
me-
and
do they
he
call
does it
me and say,
himself.
Steve, will you promote it? Because it is a tourist attraction, technically. I think one other thing that I will toss out there is people don't work Saturdays and Sundays, but they do work Monday through Friday. I noticed that the interpretive facility at Pony Creek will be open on Saturdays from 10 to 2. Why not do an experiment this year and open from noon to 4 on Sundays and check it and then really promote it? Because you will get people, I'm sure. Sundays is our biggest day through the summer. When it's fall and winter, I'm there on Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes at 5 and 6 o'clock as people come in late. I've gotten calls to do tours at 5 o'clock in the morning. So where are we taking tourism? If we're going to disperse it into 3 categories, those are probably the biggest promoter areas we need to promote, but how's it going to work? Where's the unison come from? Where, oh, I can do this, but if we all 3 tie it together, we can do it for the same price and not each you do it. Cost factor on it. Those are my concerns.
I appreciate you coming in,
Yeah.
Stephen.
And then my other question would be, how many B&Bs are in Mills County? B&Bs,
Airbnbs, rentals like but because the lodging tax, one thing that I learned, you might not know this, that the lodging tax only applies to Airbnbs that are outside of city limits. So we don't get them from Malvern, the Art Church. We don't get them from Hotel Arthur here in Glenwood. You know, we don't get it from anything like that. So there's very few places. I mean, I can think of Best Nest Farms. You think of any other, Jitsi? I mean, we have the 2 cabins at the park. Oh, yeah, Ohana. Cabins at
And then when
Ohana.
you go to the, I
Wouldn't
was,
the cabins at the conservation?
Yeah,
yes, they
yeah,
are.
we pay for that.
The other thing is, when I went to the state site to see, because they're supposed to track all this stuff and have all this data, I can't find any. We have Hotel Arthur here. There's a couple places in Malvern that I don't know if the cities have passed an ordinance to collect a tax for it or not. I do not know.
Glenwood does, right? Yeah, and does their money go to the chamber?
No, we don't get that money.
Oh, they use it for, okay.
I'll have to get specifics on that.
Oh, they
I-
do get money. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
they have their own tourism tax.
Well, I will find out because I have never seen a dime of it spent on anything that's called tourism.
That'll be your next stop. Go visit Mitch in
That's
City
on
Hall.
that's on my list to work my way down, because we have some opportunities now to make some money, but we need to market it in the right audience area, and we've not been doing that adequately. And so you want to give me that money, my guy can give me a check for it right now, and I will spend it.
I know you'll use it well.
Up this summer.
Yeah,
So, yes.
yeah.
So those are my concerns, and I think it needs to be a group of, not a large group, but some people that sit down and lay out a plan. I mean, conservation, maybe.
Well, I think the
Name from
groups,
Emerson.
if they want to work together, that they can individually come together and try to work out how they're going to best spend the funds. I mean, $2,000 going to you at the museum, $2,000 going to Indian Creek, and then $4,000 going to conservation. So it is very different what the money is being spent on across the county. And then in addition to that, I mean, everything that we're doing is in accordance with Iowa code.
Right.
And it has a wide scope of what the funds can be used for.
That's correct.
It was written specifically to have a wide scope.
Right.
And so, you may want to use it for programs, but you may run into a situation where you got a pipe that breaks in your ceiling and you got to use that funds. That
Well-
counts according to this code.
Correct.
On that, with the water dripping all over the museum's gonna have to close, you're gonna lose tourism. So, I mean, tourism, making sure that people are able to come could be done in a variety of ways. But I think the best option would be, you reach out to conservation, Jared, probably Bill McGrew over at Indian Creek.
Now, what about the amphitheater? That's its own entity now. It's no longer part of the city. It's its own.
Well, the amphitheater didn't get any funds this year. That doesn't mean they won't get funds next year,
Okay.
but they didn't get any funds this year. From what I've been told, they have a very robust budget.
Polk County Tourism has a huge $1 million robust budget, and they still get money from state and everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't have big beach areas and stuff, so I think we need to figure out our direction on this. If there was a small group that actually was the tourism group that was very proactive, that worked with each of these entities, I think that would be a good direction to go, but they have to be really proactive. And it could be made up of Gary, Bruder, myself, and someone from the amphitheater. That would be the core group.
You guys can work together, but I am opposed to giving funds to outside organizations like that. If you guys were to create an organization and have a board and things like that, I would not want to give you any tax dollars. That's my belief. I don't think that any outside group or charity or 501c3 nonprofit, anything is entitled to any tax dollars. The only thing that people are entitled to are high quality services.
Emerson is a 501(c)(3).
Correct, but you don't have a board. We're giving a specific, but it's not a tourism board. We're giving it specifically for the museum to use on things that you need. And you already know what you're gonna use it at. Totally about. And Indian Creek is excited what they can use. Jared is ecstatic what
I
he's
know,
gonna
I'd like
use it
to have
over
you
there.
give me $1,000 extra of this, because I know what I can do with it. So I just you need to put down in writing some cohesiveness for everybody to have a simple guideline on it. And we need to be able to respond back to where our money went at the end of the year.
I have no problem with you coming in and giving an update.
Because I just
at the
sent
end of
it,
fiscal year.
and I just would send Carol an email, and she said, okay, you want me to come talk about it? She said, no, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, no, you can send us an email at the end of the fiscal year after, you get the check come this fall. So I have no problem with that.
All right, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and we're not all going in 50 different directions and nothing's happening. Because I track our visitors, so I can tell you who's from where and where they're from and how many we get in different areas. I can tell you pretty much who comes to the lake park. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I shared it with you earlier, but this
Yeah.
makes.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right,
Stephen.
guys,
Thank you for
Steve.
coming in.
I'll be up to get my check in the fall.
All right, Matthew Scott. Next on the agenda, agreement with Board of Health regarding environmental health duties. Come on, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted me here. I just thought in case you had any questions,
Yeah, it's not half bad.
I'd show up. I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we were able to get the agreement signed
Yeah,
from Board of Health at
Yeah.
least.
it's the most simple language we could put into it.
Yeah, and you're okay with that. I overlooked it. I didn't see any issues.
I'm good with it. I thought it was good.
Well, I've read it
Kind of wrote it.
twice this morning and I can't find anything that I disagree with. It's a nice formality sheet. So I would make a motion that we, ask the chair to, sign the agreement with Board of Health regarding environmental health duties.
I'll second Richard's motion. There's a motion and a second to have the chair, excuse me, sign the agreement with the Board of Health regarding environmental health duties. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, sir. That's pretty straightforward.
Give me a copy of that when it's all signed up, because I'll have to turn it in for my grant.
Will do. Will do. I'll get it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, new business. You got
Thank you, Matt.
anything, Mr. Crouch?
I have nothing at this time.
I do not either. And I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at 9:36 because you made all the other motions.
You could have jumped in anytime you wanted. I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
I.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. I'm sure.